Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Friday, February 7th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, Cash App $, ORIONNWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got Super Bowl LIX, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles, a picks and preview and prediction show. Again, I'll go over each position group and I'll give you my predictions at the end of the show, as well as some of my key positional group advantages as we're going into Super Bowl Sunday. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the Super Bowl preview and prediction show this Friday evening. And I apologize for all those individuals that I posted earlier in the day that I wasn't going to do the stream at 5 p.m. Pacific. But again, had a little bit of a, late lunch and spent time with Paisley. And it took me a while to kind of prep photos and get everything situated. So I figured I would wait a little bit longer until we get into the 6 o'clock range. And then obviously with the thumb, Patrick Mahomes on the left, Jalen Hurts on the right, and we know it's in Nolans, so you have that Nolans theme there. Can't wait to be able to get into Super Bowl Sunday. And again, this is a very, very tough, decision, because when you go back and look at the Super Bowl from a couple of years ago, it really was kind of 50-50, right, between the Eagles and the Chiefs. And if you remember in that particular matchup, it was decided only by 3. So at this, particular time, when you have a Super Bowl that has been decided by 3, in that particular matchup, you look at last year's matchup against the Niners, won by the Chiefs by 3. It's definitely going to be one of those games, but there are a few things that I definitely want to be able to go over, especially with Jalen Carter and this supposed illness. Is it COVID? Is it pneumonia? Is it the flu? And again, if you have certain skill position groups that are either going to be sick or injured, that is going to factor into my decision on what ends up happening today. Sarah in the building, what's good? Let's shoot for 20 likes, obviously, within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall. And we'll obviously be shooting for 100 in the donos on every single stream. And I was planning on probably going for maybe about an hour to 2 hours and 30 minutes, depending on the volume or, what we end up having, obviously, here today. Hope that you are having a fantastic Friday. We're going to do Blazers, T-Wolves tomorrow, and then Super Bowl Sunday, obviously, here on the weekend. Let's get to 100 in donos. Let's smash that like button. And again, let's get into the beginning stages. And I'll probably have to, once I go through, every position, there'll be people kind of coming in periodically throughout the stream. And if I end up having to kind of go back over some of my breakdown and analysis, I don't really have a problem with doing that. I did it obviously last year where I kind of went through it twice. So if that ends up being the case, I have no problem with that. So let's start it off here with the Super Bowl LIX roster breakdown. Who's got the edge? Is it the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, you remember the showdown, a rematch, a Super Bowl LVII 2 years ago. It'll be just as much as about talent versus talent, and coaching versus coaching, and execution versus execution throughout the game. Now here, I'm going to go over a breakdown here. And again, if we get a few people coming in a little bit late and we have to go through it again, I don't mind. So let's start it off with the quarterback position. For the Kansas City Chiefs, you got Patrick the Clone Mahomes. And on the Philadelphia Eagles, you have Jalen Hurts. Now, we know that both of these quarterbacks are very capable on getting the job done. Now, we have to remember, Super Bowl is not being played in Kansas City or in Philadelphia. It's on neutral turf in Nolans in the Dome, right? So you have to understand you're not going to get that same home field advantage. So who do you trust the most on, neutral turf, essentially an away game? Some people would say Patrick Mahomes based off the experience in the playoffs. Some people may say Jalen Hurts this year, since obviously he had better stats than Patrick Mahomes in the regular season. But really what it comes down to for me, reflect in the building what's good. And again, as people periodically kind of come through and into the stream, if I have to kind of start over, I don't mind going through the stream and the details more than once if I have to. But again, since it is a neutral turf location, we know Patrick Mahomes statistically probably had his worst season in 2024. But one thing that we do have to remember, he's still the best quarterback of this era, okay? Yes, Josh Allen won the NFL MVP, but it probably should have went to Lamar Jackson. So if you look at the stat line, the only thing, stats, that were a little bit better is he had more rushing touchdowns than Lamar. But Lamar, pretty much won in every category. So it shows you that with voting, just like in the Grammys or the Oscars or any type of NFL awards, sometimes the wrong guy gets the award. Sometimes there is bias, right? And if you look at stats, Lamar was more deserving than Josh Allen, but Josh Allen maybe being a little bit more popular right now and has never won the award before. But if we're really getting down to the nitty-gritty, who really deserved the award based off stats? It was Lamar. But again, that's a thing that we will talk about on another day. But again, Patrick Mahomes, worst statistical season as a starter in 2024. But with that being said, still the best quarterback in this particular era. And he remains on track as the only quarterback to compete and challenge Tom Brady for GOAT status. GOAT, greatest of all time. Now, we probably don't think that they're going to get to that many Super Bowls, and you don't think that they're going to win that many, but you don't really know until it's all said and done. Now, he's borderline unbeatable in critical moments on the biggest stages, whether or not the referees throw the flag or not, because you have to understand, this is something that we haven't seen, every single year in the Chiefs' run, where they were getting catered to. When it was Tom Brady, okay, it was jealousy and envy because, we just couldn't beat him, right? Nobody could beat the Patriots besides maybe the Patriots themselves, or if you're in the NFC East, you're talking about Eli, Michael Strahan, and maybe a little Philly with Nick Foles. But not many individuals and teams were able to get the best of Tom Brady, right? But with Mahomes playing in his 5th Super Bowl in 7 years as a starter, aiming for the 3rd straight Lombardi trophy. Again, Jalen Hurts might have statistically had a better year. But again, as far as quarterbacks are concerned in the Super Bowl, I have to go with guys that I trust. This is not a home game at Arrowhead. This is not a game, obviously, in Philly. So you have to understand it's in Nolans, right? It's going to be a lot of rich people there, not the same kind of rowdy fan base. So if it comes down to the Super Bowl, I think both of these guys are going to have great games. But I have to lean towards Patrick the Clone Mahomes just because he's been there, he's done that. Not saying that Jalen Hurts can't have a better statistical game, have more touchdowns, thrown, less interceptions. That's definitely very possible. I don't think the defenses are going to be as good as they were in the regular season if, these teams were playing at home or on the road in each other's buildings. But at the end of the day, if I have to go with one or the other, regular season, you were better. But if we're talking about Super Bowl, I got to go with Patrick the Clone Mahomes. And some people may disagree, and that's completely fine. Again, when we go through these things, this is just my personal take of going through everything up to this point. And again, we already know that a lot of people have been upset with the catering, whether or not, the chief players and coaches, want to admit it. But again, whenever we see something a little fishy, we're definitely going to be able to speak up. And again, sometimes, if you're good enough, long enough, right, you eventually turn into the villain. Chiefs fans were very angry at New England, right? They were very angry at them as a fan base, at Tom Brady, right? And then now everything has come full circle. And now you are the new New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs. But again, if I have to go one way or the other, I am going to go with Patrick Mahomes. Reflect in the building. What's good? All right, and let's get to position group number 2. So Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Again, this game I do not think is going to be in the teens or the 20s. I think that there is a good opportunity for each quarterback to throw for a couple and may even get in the end zone with their legs. Don't be surprised. But if I have to choose one, I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes. At running back, obviously you got Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, and a number of others that are going to try to be able to show what they can do for the Kansas City Chiefs. But not only is Saquon Barkley, I think, the best player in the NFL this year, he not only could have won the NFL MVP over Josh Allen, he could have been NFL Offensive Player of the Year, the award that he won. So Barkley is going to go down as arguably one of the best free agent acquisitions in league history, not only just for this year, but of all time. He became just the 9th player ever to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. Could have broken the NFL single season record if he would have played in week 18 when Philly rested its starters. Barkley has been carrying the Eagles in the playoffs just like he did in the regular season, averaging 147.3 rushing yards per game, 6.7 yards per carry since the wild card round, and a very easy running back position to be able to break down. Saquon Barkley versus whoever on planet Earth. Advantage Philadelphia Eagles. See, you're like me. We're more about stats and analytics, but again, it shows you, sometimes it's political, sometimes it's biased. Beyonce winning country album of the year. Does anyone really think that album should have won country album of the hell no, right? But again, it is what it is. Things end up being biased and political, and a lot of times, the wrong person or persons end up winning a particular award, and that's why sometimes you'll get people that boycott those shows like Eminem and a few others because they know what the real deal is. But again, if you're looking at stats, Lamar beat him in every stat line besides rushing touchdowns. I think Lamar had 4 and Josh Allen had 12, if I'm believing correctly based off my brain of football knowledge. But if that's wrong, someone can correct me. But I believe that's what it was. But there wasn't very many categories that Allen was beating Lamar, like a couple, like 2 or 3 at the very most, and everything else was Lamar. But again, since Lamar already won it, they wanted to give it to Josh Allen, and it's not like Josh Allen isn't deserving, right? But again, first time for winning it, almost ended up, getting past the Chiefs, but they did not. And obviously, we'll get into the next skill position group here in just 1 second. But even though I won't be watching, go Eagles. Got to support the bird teams. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. A little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. $10 holla. Appreciate you. Any photos that you want me to be able to get once I kind of go through some position groups here, and let me know. And I got you. Appreciate you very, very much. We're at 10:90 to go. And again, we will go over some of these other groups because I go over everything on the channel. So obviously starting it off, Chiefs, Eagles, quarterback position. I got to give the edge to the man that has the experience, even though that Jalen Hurts played better in the regular season. This isn't a home game. This isn't a typical road game. This is neutral turf in Nolens. So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. And also, if you remember, in the Chiefs, when they ended up getting their very first Super Bowl with Len Dawson, where did they end up getting that? I believe in Nolens. Position group number 2 at running back. Again, whether it be Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, or anyone else that they want to go in. Honestly, this guy played such good ball this year. They literally could have given him the NFL MVP and Offensive Rookie of the Year. Not Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year. And again, it's going to be all Saquon. But again, if you end up limiting Saquon from getting into the end zone 2 or 3 times, that obviously maximizes your chances of winning in the Super Bowl. And not only that, in the playoffs in general. Reflect with a tenner. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Appreciate you. And I'll get you some photos up here as well. And again, I want to make sure we're going over all of the nitty gritty because again, some people are going to just kind of do just like a bare overview and then going with their bias opinion. I'm just going to give it to you how I see it and with no bias whatsoever. Okay. Next position group, we're going to go with wide receiver. Okay. And with the wide receivers, you got a lot of them. Xavier Worthy, D-Hop, Hollywood Brown. So we know that they're capable. of making big plays. But if you have to go and compare that to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson, we know Worthy and Hopkins can put up similar or greater numbers as Brown and Smith. But the Eagles passing attack, they had a down season. We know that because they've been handing the ball off to Saquon Barkley, right? He's been the focal point of the offense. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, play good defense, run the ball, play good defense, win the game. Both of these quarterbacks essentially at one point of the year or another have become kind of elite game managers where they don't need to throw for 300, 400 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns each to win a playoff game or a Super Bowl. Essentially, you just can't throw the pick six, the fumble for the touchdown. You can't fuck up. And as long as you don't fuck up in that big play, you'll probably end up winning the game. Facts. But if you have to look at the skill set, player for player, Xavier Worthy can give you that splash ability like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But again, Brown and Smith are still one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league. So again, with Brown and Smith, even though they're going to be going with a lot of heavy Saquon, right? You have to think that these guys are capable of getting into the end zone, just like Brown, Hollywood, DeAndre Hopkins, and Xavier Worthy. But I got to lean slightly here with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith because they are still one of the best duos in the league, and they can come up big in the biggest moments. Edge at wide receiver, the Philadelphia Eagles. Daniel in the building, what's good? Next up, and this is easy, right? We know Dallas Goedert is a very good tight end, top 10, typically in the NFL. Sometimes, we'll play like a top 5 tight end, from time to time, but normally a top 10, top 12 tight end for Dallas Goedert. But Travis Kelce, he might not be the same type of Travis Kelce that we have seen in years past. Right? Goddard may have younger legs, but Kelce is still the more productive player. Even at age 35, which is considered old on NFL terms, he averaged 51.4 receiving yards per game. That's very, very low. Goddard was at 49.6, pretty close. The past couple of years, Kelce has reminded the NFL world that the clutch gene is still there, right? So even if the regular season numbers aren't there, would anyone honestly be surprised if he ends up getting in the end zone once or twice, especially if they are on, the 10-yard line and in? They can always run a tush push. They can always run, a jet sweep or a screen pass. They can always go heavy with Pacheco or Kareem Hunt. But at some point or another, Kelce is going to get a couple huge first downs to extend the drive. And there is a good possibility that he could, not saying that he will, but he could get in the end zone once or twice. So again, advantage, Travis Kelce. Advantage, Kansas City Chiefs. And then next up, we are going to be going over the offensive line. Now, normally, if we're talking about position groups, and I'll get into some photos here for Megan and reflect after we just do the offense here. Normally, a fully healthy Eagles offensive line is the superior group, okay? Left tackle, Jordan Mailata. Left guard, Landon Dickerson. Center, Cam Jurgens. Right guard, Mekhi Becton. Right tackle, Lane Johnson. When they are healthy, they are the superior group, hands down. They've helped Barkley have the 9th 2,000-yard rushing season in NFL history, right? But a banged-up Dickerson, knee, and Jurgens, back, that's a lot of uncertainty, right? Remember when the Kansas City Chiefs had a couple offensive linemen when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What happened in that particular game? Patrick Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown pass. The D-line ran all over him. Lots of sack lunches. Mahomes didn't even have anything really productive, besides running for his life, right? So again, we know that Mailata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Becton, Johnson are the superior group, but Joe Thuney, right? Caliendo, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. Now, Juwan Taylor is garbage. I think that we can all agree to that out of everyone on the offensive line, he needs to be replaced. Juwan Taylor is terrible. And that's the one spot where you have an advantage if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're trying to run a pass rush, right? You run it on Juwan Taylor. The right tackle is terrible. They're probably going to have to figure out some double team concepts, or maybe not just run to the right-hand side and maybe run over towards Thuney's side a little bit more. But again, Philadelphia Eagles, if they're healthy, I'm going with them, 10 out of 10. But they're not. And again, those injuries right now with Dickerson's knee and Jurgens' back really concern me. So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs led by Joe Thuney. And again, this guy seems like he ends up getting to the Super Bowl on any given year. It's about to possibly get, into that upper echelon status as far as rings are concerned. So that is the offense so far. And again, remember, there's going to be things like illness and injury that are going to matter. So you have to understand it's not just based on the regular season or even earlier in the playoffs. We're talking about right now going into the game on Sunday. And again, if those guys are banged up, Dickerson with the knee and Juergens with the back, you can't discredit that. That is a big deal. Facts. Is there any photos that I can end up getting here for Reflect and for Megan before I get into the defensive side, which I'm going to get into here in a moment? Anything that you guys want to be able to see, or would you want me to be able to continue now to the defense? And again, another thing that I wanted to mention also here, among qualified quarterbacks in the regular season, Mahomes, right? Even though we talk about the Eagles O-line, Mahomes faced just 29.9% pressure rate per drop back. That's the 10th lowest mark in the NFL. That's according to Next Gen Stats. So it's not like the Chiefs' offensive line isn't good. They definitely are one of the better offensive lines led by Joe Thuney. But again, player for player, Eagles is better when they're healthy, but the problem is they're not. Facts. Zay in the building. What's good? Yes, I got you. What's good, Zay? I'm going to grab a couple photos here, since Megan is going to be out the door, and we'll get some Trent McDuffie up here for Reflect as well. Appreciate you. And we'll squeeze in these photos for these two, since I ended up doing pretty much the advantages of all of the offense. And then once we plug these photos in for these two special individuals that support the channel more than anyone else, for the most part, then we can end up getting into the defense and the coaching and the special teams. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall if we get volume, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. And we'll see if I can get some McDuffie photos from UW and with the Chiefs. What's good, Zay? How are you? Yeah. And I'm glad he was able to start school. That's fantastic. Obviously, time goes by very, very fast. Anything else that you guys want me to be able to put up photo-wise, let me know. And if not, then I'll get into the defensive side. And we'll probably have to scroll through it, and I'll probably go over the information again at least one more time all the way through if we get more people coming through. Otherwise, they can just watch the show, on a replay, and then they can go there as well. So Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things, when you go to school, obviously staying at home and playing and whatnot, and then you have to get up and get dressed. But again, it's an opportunity to make new friends, meet the teachers, do some new activities and whatnot, and hopefully that will be a good, smooth transition for him moving forward. So just to do a quick review as we get into the defense here, we're going over all the skill position groups and obviously giving you my picks and my predictions. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, we both know that these both quarterbacks are very, very capable of getting the job done. And obviously Jalen had a better regular season than Pat. But again, when it comes down to the Super Bowl, again, you can't really go against a guy that still remains on track, the only one to challenge Tom Brady for GOAT status. He's going to be playing in his 5th Super Bowl in 7 years as a starter. So I have to go with someone that I think that, regardless on what you guys think about the refs, and we all know what the refs have done this particular season, calling plays or not calling plays a certain type of way, or having flags that are thrown that should or should not have been thrown. But at the end of the day, I got to go Patrick Mahomes. Running back group, obviously with the running backs, you got capable ones with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, but this running back was the best player arguably in the NFL overall, even over Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They literally could have gave him the NFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year if they wanted to, but they typically like to, divvy out the awards more to one individual. Advantage running backs, Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley. And the wide receiver group is next. And again, it's not like I don't think Xavier Worthy and D-Hop can match A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I definitely think they can. And the passing attack had a down season because they kept going to this guy named Saquon. But again, when it comes to the big game, don't be surprised if A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or both end up in the end zone on Super Bowl Sunday. Advantage, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson. Tight end groups, obviously no Dallas Goedert, is typically a top 10, top 12 tight end. Travis Kelce, he may not be the same type of player that we've seen from years past, but he still has that clutch gene. Advantage, Travis Kelce. And then when we go to the offensive line, like I mentioned, normally a fully healthy Eagles offensive line is the superior group. But again, a banged up Dickerson, a knee, a banged up Jurgens, right? Obviously back. Those are things that you cannot, just push to the side. So I'm going to have to go Tooney, Caliendo, Humphrey, Smith, even though Jawan Taylor stinks, and he's the worst one out of any offensive lineman, Chiefs or Eagles. I'm going to have to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, among qualified quarterbacks in the regular season, Mahomes faced just 29.9% pressure rate per drop back, 10th lowest mark in the NFL, according to Next Gen. But again, they normally don't go against a D-line like the Philadelphia Eagles. And let's move over here next to the defensive line outside linebackers. Now, you got the Chiefs, George Karlaftis, right? You got Tershawn Wharton, Chris Jones, Mike Dana, right? But on the Philadelphia Eagles side, you got Milton Williams, right? Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, pictured, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and they had a guy named Nakobe Dean, but obviously had that serious injury, right? So with no Nakobe Dean, that's pretty big not to have that individual as far as the inside linebackers. But if we're talking about defensive line and outside linebackers, we got to give it to Philadelphia. They got the edge in sacks, sack rate. Now, Kansas City has better numbers in pressures and pressure rate, but really the difference is stopping the run, particularly a linebacker stat. Now, the Eagles' run stuff rate is 17.3% in the regular season, 14th, compared to the Chiefs, 14.8%, 24th. Okay, so there's a little bit of a gap there. So the edge for the defensive line and outside linebackers, Philadelphia Eagles. Next position group is going to be inside linebackers. And this one is pretty easy. You're going to have to go with a guy that was on the New Orleans Saints and the Super Bowl is being played there, Zach Bond. Oren Burks, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. going against Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton, and Leo Chenal. Now, Philadelphia's linebacking core took a hit with Nakobe Dean's season-ending knee injury in the wild card round. If they had him, then it would be above and beyond Philadelphia. But Bond has been spectacular in Philly. Named a first-team All-Pro, Bond had 151 tackles, 5 forced fumbles, 4 pass breakups, 3.5 sack lunch, in the regular season. Now, the Eagles have allowed just 105.6 rushing yards per game in 3 playoff contests compared to the Chiefs, 148.0 in 1 fewer postseason games. Advantage, Philadelphia Eagles, inside linebackers. And then now, as we move forward, we're going to go to the corners, okay? And obviously, we just brought up pictures, of guys like Trent McDuffie, and we know that he is a stud from UW, right? But if you're looking at the group overall, right, and what they were able to do, Quinyon Mitchell in the draft, Cooper DeJean in the draft, Big Play Slay, even though he's old, right? He's been the OG going against Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Tamari Connor. So McDuffie is one of the best corners in football, right? We know this. There is no doubt about that. We already know McDuff is the man. But if you actually look at the total group with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell being rookies, which is not something that you normally see, right? The totality of the Eagles' talent is impossible to ignore. Mitchell, Slay, and DeJean give up only 5 touchdowns combined as the nearest defender in coverage during the regular season. And that's by far the best, if you're comparing these 2 positional groups. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Big Play Slay, advantage, cornerbacks, the Philadelphia Eagles. And now if we're going into the safety group, we're staying with Philadelphia. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but I like to put in a guy that doesn't get a whole lot of love, Reed Blankenship, right? You're going against Justin Reed and Brian Cook. And Justin Reed and Brian Cook are no slouches, but Gardner-Johnson and Blankenship round out was arguably the best Bass defense in the NFL in 2024, corners and safeties combined. Neither of them allowed a passer rating of more than 78 in the regular season, okay? That's nuts, right? Cook and Reed were both above that at 103.9. So you have to give love to C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and obviously the former Saint loves to talk, but Reed Blankenship, he's always around the football, kind of like a Cooper DeJean. You just never know when they're going to pop up and be there. Advantage, safeties, Philadelphia Eagles. Next position group, the specialist. All right, the Chiefs, Harrison Butker, right? As well as Ariza Winchester, right? Going against Jake Elliott, Mann, Rogers, and Lovato. Now, out of the kickers, Butker has been more efficient, 84% from his field goals this season compared to Elliott's 77.8. Kansas City also averages more yards per return on punts and kickoffs than Philadelphia. And we've seen Butker make the big kick when it matters the most in the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Advantage, specialist, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, if you're looking at the overall roster, of the team, the Eagles entered the season with one of the NFL's most talented roster, and that comes across in the comparison. On paper, Philadelphia edges Kansas City in more position groups, including every level of the defense. But the Chiefs, they got an edge in a position that matters the most, quarterback, right? And health concerns with the Eagles' elite offensive line, as well as a bug in the locker room. Is it COVID? Is it flu? Is it pneumonia? Is it a common cold? But if there is a problem, not only with the offensive line group, but also the defensive line and maybe some of the defensive players, you have to be able to understand that is going to be a factor in the Super Bowl. Because what is it? O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling, right? These things matter. And, when it comes down to coaching, Sirianni got his job saved by Vic Fangio. That was a great addition to be able to bring in. But Andy Reid, right now, he is the best coach in the NFL, and it's not even close, okay? Based on his experience, on what he did with Philadelphia, 4 NFC championship games, wasn't able to win a Super Bowl, but got to one with T.O., and then is able to turn it around here in Kansas City. But really, besides Andy Reid, really the difference X factor for me is going to be this guy right here, is Steve Spagnuolo. Now, Vic Fangio might be the more popular name, right? But Steve Spagnuolo is probably the most underrated defensive, coordinator overall in the NFL. And, even though Vic Fangio is going to be top 5 and Spagnuolo is top 5, both of them are probably top 3, as far as defensive coordinators this year, right? They're both at the top. But I have to give an edge to Spags, okay? Because Vic Fangio, yes, he's 0-7
against Andy Reid, but again, most of those were when he was on the Broncos. I get that, right? But with Spags, he's one of those guys that can end up giving you that timely corner blitz whenever you're not expecting it, and it may not even have to be on third down. Of course, you're going to get a blitz at the corner from third down once in a while, but it could end up being on first down or second down. And again, Spags, with his creativity, Vic Fangio is the more popular name, but Steve Spagnuolo might actually be the best defensive coordinator in the entire league. And so with all that being said, when we're going over all of these position groups, and I'll actually go through the comments here and I'll scroll back up. Don't want to miss too much here. So let me scroll back into the comments and then I'll give you kind of my final breakdown of the stats. But again, you can't overlook, the offensive line injuries for Philadelphia, as well as that illness on the defensive side with those players. And that could end up costing the Eagles the Super Bowl. Big facts. Still, it could go either way, 100%. STL in the building. What's good? Man, I know you've been doing the Amazon. Keep grinding, my son. Keep grinding. Make that money, my guy. Zay says he's tired of the snow. He doesn't want any more. How much snow you got up there right now? We're still waiting on ours up here. Again, we had snow for one day, but it didn't stick at all. But me and Paisley got out there. We're at 20, 80 to go. Oh my, 31,100 packages. That doesn't surprise me one bit. Amazon always doing those big numbers. Bezos. Odin in the building. What's good? All right, I'm getting pretty close to getting caught up here. Alexa Bliss on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre on SmackDown too, I believe, right? STL with a $5. I know, man. I can't wait to do NASCAR. And again, we had good results on the first stream. We ended up getting like 3,000. So I didn't really know what to expect for the very first stream. I know my thumbnail game is on point. So I knew that was going to drive in some, and some were going to stay, some were going to go. But again, to be able to get 3,000, I mean, I would have been happy with anything over 1,000 if I'm being honest. And again, I'm going to do the Daytona 500, and I can't wait to be able to watch NASCAR with you, as well as the other fans that love that sport as much as I do. Appreciate you. $5 holla. Let me know what you want to do for any type of photos, stacks on stacks, racks on racks, and a little Cactus Jack bang bang. So again, I'll do a quick review here since we end up having Odin and STL and Zay and a few others, just real quick, so we can go over the position groups, and then I'll give you my prediction and a score that I believe that we could possibly end up seeing. So Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles, positional group breakdown. Quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. I go Patrick Mahomes based off experience. Running back, Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, or Saquon Barkley. This is a no-brainer. Saquon Barkley could have got the NFL MVP and offensive MVP this year. Facts. Best player in the NFL overall, in my opinion, this season. Wide receiver group. It's pretty, again, it's not like I don't think Xavier Worthy and D-Hop and Hollywood Brown can't make plays, but let's be honest, A.J. Brown, when he's healthy, is, a top 5, top 10 wide receiver. Devontae Smith is somewhere between 11 and 15 typically, maybe as low as 20, but again, they're both 2 of the top 20 receivers if you want to go that route, or 2 of the top 15 receivers in the league. And I don't think you can really say that about Worthy and Hopkins. Again, Worthy has the ability. Hopkins used to be that guy, and he could still get in the end zone. That wouldn't surprise me, but I got to give the wide receiver advantage to Philadelphia. Tight end. Obviously, we know Travis Kelce may not be the same player, but if it comes down to Dallas Goedert or Travis Kelce, they both could be great check down guys in the Super Bowl. But again, Travis Kelce has one thing that Goddard doesn't have, the clutch gene. So don't be surprised if he ends up getting in the end zone once or twice or ends up getting a big first down or two to help them win the game. Advantage tight end, Travis Kelce. Now, for the offensive line, normally I would go Eagles. Mailata, Dickerson, Juggins, Becton, Lane Johnson, especially when you got kind of a crappy one at Jawan Taylor. You know, even Odin will tell you that. Every Chiefs fan will tell you that he's terrible, right? But Tooney, Caliendo, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Jawan Taylor, they'll find a way to run to the left instead of maybe running to the right. But Tooney, you know, from a guy that, you know, was on New England and obviously brought that experience to Kansas City, the difference is the Eagles' offensive line, when they're healthy, they're the superior group, right? We saw what Saquon Barkley did, almost run for 2,000 yards. Didn't even play in Week 18 because they rested the starters. But remember when Kansas City's offensive line was banged up with two of their best starters against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What happened in that Super Bowl? It wasn't pretty. The only Super Bowl that Kansas City has lost because the offensive line couldn't hang on. And again, when you have your two best that are injured, not saying that Dickerson and Juergens are the best. We know Lane Johnson arguably is the best player on that offensive line, but still, so I'm going to have to go advantage Kansas City, Joe Tooney and company. Now here is a position group right now. You got Carl Laftis, Wharton, Chris Jones, Dana against Williams, Davis, Carter, Smith, and Sweat, right? But the real question is, Philadelphia has the edge in sacks, sack rate. Kansas City has better numbers in pressure rate. But really, stopping the run, particularly a linebacker stat, the Eagles' stuff rate is a little bit better, 17.3% compared to the Chiefs at 14.8%. One is 14th, the other is 24th. But this could even out and actually be advantage Kansas City because there is some type of COVID, cold, flu, pneumonia that not only Jalen Carter has, but he's spreading it to the defense. And he might be spreading it to some of the players on the offense as well. So I'll put Philadelphia for now. But don't be surprised if the position group struggles if there is a sickness, because if you have a cold, you have a flu, you have COVID, you have pneumonia, you're not going to be able to get that same type of effort when you're chasing down this guy, Patrick Mahomes. So for now, we're going to leave it here with the Philadelphia Eagles. But when game time comes, don't be surprised if it ends up being edge, defensive line, Chris Jones, and outside linebacker could be the Kansas City Chiefs. Inside linebackers, right? You got Tranquil, Bolton, and Chenal against Bond, Burks, and Trotter Jr. And right now you have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, even though, Nakobe Dean's season-ending knee injury in the wild card round hurt. Bond has been spectacular. And again, it's a pretty even positional group with the inside linebackers. You could kind of go either way, just like with this one as well, especially if you have an illness there. But again, as of right now, you're going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles and Zach Bond. Cornerback position. Again, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Jamai Kana going against Quinyon Mitchell, Big Play Slay, and Cooper DeJean. And it's got to be the advantage, Philadelphia Eagles. And we know McDuff, is one of the best cornerbacks in football. But if you're looking at the position group as a whole, again, I don't know if I've seen a better offseason, right? Vic Fangio, Saquon Barkley, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. That's unfucking believable on top of Zach Bond. It's probably the best offseason I've ever seen. But again, you have to be hot. You have to be healthy at the right time. So I give you the advantage right now because obviously the Eagle talent at the position, impossible to ignore. Mitchell, Slay, and DeJean gave up only 5 touchdowns combined as the nearest defender in coverage during the regular season. And that's top numbers, baby. Safeties, okay? Justin Reed and Brian Cook, they're good, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship are better. Now, Gardner-Johnson and Blankenship roundout was arguably the best pass defense in the NFL in 2024 compared with the corner group with DeJean, Big Play Slay, and Quinyon Mitchell, adding to C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship, right? Neither of them allowed a passer rating of more than 78 in the regular season, right? Cook and Reed were above that with 103.9. Advantage, Philadelphia Eagles in the safety position. Special teams, Harrison Butker all the way. He's been more efficient, 84% of the field goals. And then another reason that we kind of go Patrick Mahomes over Jalen Hurts, it's based off big game clutchness, right? When the game is on the line, Pat isn't going to fuck it up, and Butker can make those big kicks. So again, we obviously know right? That Jake Elliott is a pretty good kicker, 77.8. But who do you trust more in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl? You're looking at him. Advantage, Kansas City Chiefs. Head coach, Sirianni might have got his job saved by bringing in Saquon, Vic Fangio, Cooper DeJean, right? Quinyon Mitchell, Zach Bond. But at the end of the day, this is the best head coach in the NFL, hands down. It's not even close. It's Big Red, Andy Reid. And then really the biggest X factor, Vic Fangio had a great year. He's been fantastic, right? Again, 0-7 against Andy Reid in his career, but most of that was with Denver. But Spags, I give him the X factor and the advantage over Vic Fangio for one simple reason. Those corner blitzes, on first, second, and third down when you don't expect them to come could be the timely sack lunch that could decide the game. And again, I think Spags and Vic Fangio, you could say that those are two of the top three defensive coordinators this season. And they have been, very, maybe underrated overall. But again, Vic Fangio will be the more popular name. But again, a big reason why the Chiefs have been winning Super Bowls in the last couple years is this guy right here. Not necessarily all Andy Reid. You have to give credit to Spags. He's amazing. Advantage, defensive coordinator for this particular game, I'm going Steve Spagnuolo. And then for my final prediction, as I get into the comments here real quick, let's make sure I get caught up here. And let me know what you want to do for photos. Let me know. I got you. I'll get you here in just 1 second. Yeah, Juwan's terrible. You want some Alex Bregman at LSU? I got you. And again, in this particular matchup, I really could, see this game going either way, right? But again, it's about O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. It's not going to necessarily be about quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Those get kind of overblown. Those are, pieces that are important to a team. But for me, Super Bowls are won by O-line, D-line, obviously battle in the trenches, O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, and play calling. And again, I think that this could end up being the deciding factor. So with that being said, I'm going to go. And again, this could go either way. And I'm not biased. And I know Chiefs fans want the Chiefs. Everyone else in the world wants the Eagles, but I'm just going to call it how I see it. So I'm going to go final score, not in overtime. Kansas City Chiefs 37, Philadelphia Eagles 34 with a game-winning field goal by Harrison Butker in the fourth quarter, and the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat. Now, I know that's not going to make everyone that happy. And again, if the Philadelphia Eagles win, again, they're going to earn it. And depending on what that O-line looks like, for the Philadelphia Eagles, as well as their D-line. If the O-line, with those injuries that they have, can step up, and if the D-line and the defense isn't as sick as they're reporting, the Eagles can win. And it could be a flip score, 37-34. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, gets his first Super Bowl ring after losing a couple years ago. But this is just the way that I feel. No bias. No one's paying me to say this or say that. It's just based on the health of the offensive line on the Eagles. And again, if you have a couple position, guys that are really good, and Dickerson and Juergens, who they count on, and they're not healthy, right? With a knee with Dickerson and a back with Juergens. And then on top of that, you got Jalen Carter with a cold, flu, COVID, pneumonia, and you're spreading it to other defensive players. That could end up being the difference in the game, where it could end up being advantage Kansas City on the offensive line, and it also could be advantage Kansas City on the defensive line with Chris Jones and company. So again, I know some people, are going to be rooting for Philadelphia because they just don't want to see Kansas City three-peat, or they're upset based off the preferential treatment that the Chiefs feel like, the fans are feeling that they have been getting throughout the year. But again, we have to understand O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. Could be this, could be this, could be this, right? And then it could come down to special teams, and then obviously the coaching at the end. And again, it's not like these guys don't matter. It's not like he doesn't matter. And essentially, if Saquon Barkley can have that magical game where he runs for 2 or 3 touchdowns and 150 yards, that could be the difference between Philadelphia winning or losing in the Super Bowl. 100%. I understand that. But with the offensive line being banged up with Dickerson and Jurgens, he may not be able to get in the end zone 3 times or more. He might be able to get in once or twice, but you might need to get in 3 times to beat this guy in the Super Bowl in the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is my breakdown. And again, it was, one of those things that I really felt that, this game is not going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be very, very close. Again, 38-35 a couple years ago. Could have went either way. We had a 27-24, overtime with the Niners last year. I think that, both teams' offenses are going to be able to put up points. Defenses, are going to struggle at times because it is a little bit, more firepower on the offensive side. But again, that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. And I don't have any hate towards the Chiefs. I don't have any hate towards the Eagles. I'm just calling it based on every position group, based on health. And again, it may not, we'll see how the Super Bowl ends up. But again, if a three-peat happens, don't be surprised. And let's try to get a couple photos here. Let me get some of these deleted, and then I'll get a few more photos up. All right, hold on one sec. And we'll get photos for everybody that donated so far. Let me squeeze in a couple here. And I really feel if the offensive line with Dickerson and Jurgens weren't hurt, and the Jalen Carter, COVID, pneumonia, cold flu, spreading it to the defense didn't happen, maybe my pick is flipped. And maybe I go Philadelphia, if everyone is healthy, because player for player, they have the better team, player for player. But again, if you got a couple key ones injured, Jurgens, Dickerson, Carter with an illness, that could be, the difference between winning and losing in the Super Bowl, 100%. All right, I got that for you there. You want some Alex Bregman from LSU? Got you. Can't wait until we get into baseball season. Yeah, I guarantee like 95% or higher have no clue that he went there. See if I can get one more for you. And then reflect anything else that I can get you. Yeah, exactly. Sirianni got his job saved, with the Fangio, Zach Bond, Saquon, and then the drafting of DeJean and, and getting those key pieces, on the roster. If you don't have Quinyon Mitchell and DeJean and Vic Fangio, Saquon, I mean, obviously, at some point or another, we would assume that Sirianni's job would be in jeopardy and they would move on from him. Yeah, and this is just a hater comment because you're a Commanders fan. So, again, Eagles getting blown out because you're a Commanders fan, and that's not going to happen. So, that opinion is completely false. So, anyone that makes an opinion like that. So, and you know what else? Goodbye. Bandwagon Commander fan. No problem. I got you. I got you. No, because if you watch college football, he was one of the best in college, when he was on Iowa. So I think really the main thing that people were surprised about because he's white, he's Caucasian. And usually Caucasian players don't play corner. Like the last time we had one was like Jason Sehorn, and that was like 25 years ago. So usually you'll get white players that'll play safety, and you'll get them that play like offensive line and, defensive line. But corners are typically black, brothers. So to be able to get a white corner, and not only that, Caucasian corner, but he's elite, and he's really, really good. So again, I think everyone that watched college football knew that he had the potential of being great. Again, some people thought, you're a white corner. You're never going to make it against guarding the brothers at wide receiver, guarding, the A.J. Browns, the Amon-Ra's, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons. Yeah, right, some people said. But he proved that not only could he do it, but then the other rookie that they drafted, Quinyon Mitchell, who is a brother, obviously both of them have been very, very good. So again, it all kind of depends on, if you watch college football like a lot of us. And I know, you watch USC and you probably watch a little bit here and there. But for some of us, we watch a lot. Like we're watching 3-4 games on Saturdays and then 3 or 4 games on Sundays. So, we always will break it down if you have a question. So absolutely. Let's get some McDuffs up here. See what else I can get you. Anything else you want, Reflect? Let me delete some of these photos and I can make a little bit more room. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go over. I don't really think that I missed anything. And again, some of the position groups, you could go either way. You could go, because again, Jalen Hurts could have a great game. Mahomes could have a great game. It's not like I'm saying, neither. There's like a huge advantage one way or another. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, but you could end up having Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, balling out in the Super Bowl as well. So again, it really comes down to who's hot, who's healthy. You have to look at the injuries. You have to look at sickness, illness. And again, the Chiefs have only lost one Super Bowl, and that was to Tampa, right? And again, they had a couple offensive linemen that were banged up. But even if they were healthy, chances are they still weren't going to beat Tampa that year with Brady, with everything that we had. But if you actually look at our D-line, our linebackers, our secondary, with Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield Jr., with Brady and Gronk and all the pieces that we had, if they had their starting offensive linemen, Mahomes would have thrown for a couple touchdown passes. But again, if you end up winning 31-9, we still probably would have won 31-20 or 31-21. We still would have won, in my opinion, even if their offensive linemen were healthy. But it shows you, when you don't have certain guys there, it could be very detrimental, to the end result, either winning or losing the Super Bowl. Elliot in the building. What's good? How are you, brother? Did you ever make your move yet? Have you fully moved? Odin's son with a $4 holla. I didn't see it till now. Sorry, brother. I don't know if he's still in the building or not, or if he went to go watch SmackDown. Appreciate you, bro. Let me message him real quick. Odin, are you still in the room? Let's throw up some Chief photos for him. And Chris Jones been a little quiet, in the playoffs. Maybe this is the game that, he shows why, he is Chris Jones. So, there's always an opportunity to be able to, extend your legacy and make a name for yourself. So, and sometimes, guys like Aaron Donald and Chris Jones, it seems like they disappear. You don't really see them making a whole lot of plays, but again, other times, they'll take over the game and be a game wrecker with 2 or 3 sack lunches. So, I don't really know what to expect, but again, if the offensive line is banged up, maybe this is the guy besides Spags calling some corner blitzes timely that could be the difference in this game. Appreciate you, Odin. You got Eagles 34-24. And I imagine, like I said, most people, unless you're a Chiefs fan, or you're a hater, of the Eagles, like Commanders fan, Cowboys fan, Eagles fan, or not Eagles fan, Cowboys fan, Giants fan, Commanders fan. And if you hate the Eagles, then maybe you're going Chiefs, just because out of hate, of just being a fucking hater, but again, most people in the world obviously are going for the Eagles. And again, their roster, player for player, when healthy, is better than Kansas City's. But again, with key injuries on the offensive line, which we cannot, forget that those things fucking matter, right? But if you have injuries on the offensive line, the guys like Dickerson with the knee, Jurgens with the back, and then you have the Jalen Carter, COVID, flu, pneumonia, whatever it may be, and he might not have it, just him. He might be spreading it to who knows how many defensive players. And if they're out of breath and they're not healthy during the Super Bowl, that could be the piece that the Chiefs need to be able to win the Super Bowl. Big facts. So we'll kind of wait and see. But again, it could go either way, just like the first Super Bowl where they matched up a couple years ago, or it was 38-35, so it was only a 3-point game. And I believe that, even though the defenses are the 2 best defenses in the entire playoffs, we're not playing at Arrowhead. We're not playing in Philly. It's in Nolans in a dome with a bunch of rich people, not really, hardcore fans. So the environment's going to be a little bit different. And again, in a neutral field with, not really an advantage one way or the other, you have to be able to see who's going to be able to, play the best at the key moments. And again, of course, people are going to say, yeah, not only do you have to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you have to beat the refs. Yeah, we definitely have seen some questionable calls and no calls, and they've been kind of skating by barely, but again, Andy Reid and Spags, you can't question their greatness. And yeah, the refs definitely have been a factor, during the regular season. To say that they aren't or they haven't been would be a dead ass lie, and again, if you're good enough long enough, eventually you become the villain. And the Chiefs have become the new New England Patriots. But the difference is with Tom Brady, they never really got special treatment like this, like what we're seeing in this particular year. And it's not like the Chiefs are getting the refs' help in every single Super Bowl that they've had. This is the first year where we've seen the refs kind of assist them in questionable calls throughout the year. This is the first year. We haven't seen it ever until this year. So again, hopefully the refereeing will be fair. But again, you have to assume that there is going to be some kind of bullshit PI for both teams. Both of them are going to end up having penalties that are going to go in their favor or against them. And again, you just have to be able to dig deep and move past it, next play and next man up. And then, again, because if you're going to hang on that, that could end up being the difference in the game as well. All right, no problem. Take care. Appreciate the support. Yeah, but again, the Bills don't have a defense. So for all the people that love Lamar, that love Josh Allen, that love Burrow, you don't got a fucking D. You got to get a defense to be able to get past the Chiefs. And once you get a defense, you got James Cook. You got one part of the equation, and they're likable. Josh Allen is likable. James Cook is likable. The Bills are likable, right? But again, until you get a fucking defense, that's like top 10, that's legit, you're never going to be able to beat them until Andy Reid, Spags, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones, the big five, get broken up. If those guys get broken up, then someone else can advance. But, you got to have a defense, and usually you'll get more defense on the NFC side. Just like when people thought, oh, we want Lions, Bills, but you can't even get to the Super Bowl because eventually you're going to end up playing someone that has a D, Eagles, Chiefs, and you won't beat them, especially if you don't have home field advantage. That's another thing that the Bills and the Lions need. They need defense, and they need a number one seed, so that way that you have to go into Detroit, go into, Buffalo, and then once you have defense on top of that, then you make the Super Bowl. Facts. Yeah, I think everyone likes Josh Allen. I mean, I think at the beginning, we thought he was raw out of Wyoming, right? And then he wasn't really that good until Stephon Diggs got there, right? And then he elevated his game, but they never had a running back. That was, number one. They had a bunch of RB2s, RB3s. It wasn't good enough. Defense was better a couple years ago, but then they didn't have the running back. Now you get James Cook. The running back is there, but now the defense got worse. So they have to be able to put it all together, and they have to end up being a one seed. Because, again, if you're not going to have all your games in Buffalo, and even with that being said, the Buffalo Bills could be a one seed next year and still lose to the Chiefs coming into town in the AFC Championship game. They could do it on the road like they did last year. So, again, you have to have that balance. That's why defense wins games, defense wins championships, and that's why I knew that the Lions-Bills Super Bowl talk was cute and it was cool. But again, at the end of the day, defense wins games, defense wins championships. You're not even going to get to the big game without a defense. That's facts. And tomorrow's stream, we're going to end up doing the Blazers and the Timberwolves. Blazers got the best record in the NBA, 10 wins and 1 loss in the last 11 games. And again, I've been getting some good feedback, with that. And again, we have to do filler streams. And right now, the Kraken are really having a hard time. And at least the Blazers are winning. So that makes it a little bit funner for me. And again, we'll go that particular route. No massages. Anything else that you want to be able to see reflect for photos? Hey, but you might get Kellen Moore. I mean, that's not going to solve all the problems and whatnot, but, that might be better than what you had with Dennis Allen, right? So pretty much that's everything that I kind of wanted to go over, on the show, and then people can go back and, if you guys want to type in, what you guys think is going to be the end result and who you guys have winning, Chiefs or Eagles, and a score, you can type that in the chat if you like. And then, I got to take Paisley on a long walk and obviously, eat some dinner and whatnot, but we can still do, some photos for a little bit longer until I go. So I was planning on doing somewhere between like an hour and 2 hours and whatnot. We're at 1 hour and 8 minutes in at the moment now. But again, I can still, we can do some food photos or, throwback photos, whatever you guys are wanting. But, I was thinking, maybe 1 hour and 30 minutes. So we got another 21 minutes that I'll stay online, and then we can, kind of go from there. So. Yeah, true. Lots of things that need to be fixed. Yeah, scoring 91 points in the first 2 games, and then everything kind of went down the crapper. All right, so we got 21 minutes to go, unless we get like a rush of people that come in, and then we get on some crazy like dono train or something, then I would stay until like the 2-hour mark. But, it's Friday night. Obviously, I started to stream about an hour later than I wanted because I had to do the prep and the research and whatnot, so... But you guys let me know where you guys want to go. I think we're going to probably go into like food or something right now. Might as well, since I've already got everything kind of finished. And we can go from there. Yeah, we can do that. Super Bowl related food. Hell no. And they just released, I don't know, Reflect, if you ended up seeing the news based on, who's going to be in and who's out, because we know that Sims ended up taking the New York job, obviously doing radio over there. So they're going to kind of have a couple people try to, fill in the gaps and whatnot. So I don't really know how that will work out, but the Mariners are rotating Angie Mentink, Jay Buhner, Bones, which is cool, Ryan Rowland-Smith, and Dave Alley as color commentators to Goldie. And Goldie's, I enjoy Goldie, so I think he's got a great voice. They're promoting Gary Hill to radio analyst with Riz. And again, obviously, Blowers is gone for whatever reason. I didn't think he was that bad. I would rather have Blowers than some of these others that they're going to be rotating, but that's the direction they're going to go. Goldie will be play-by-play, and then they'll have a rotating Angie Mentink, Ryan Rowland-Smith, Dave Valley, and Jay Buhner. But I don't know what happened to Mike Blowers. They decided to say fuck him or whatever, but I don't know. I didn't mind Blowers that much, but, it is what it is. But, yeah, we haven't done anything. It's a bunch of crap. I guess if you think adding Solano and bringing back Jorge Polanco is good, we're really going to have to bank on bringing up a couple of our guys from the farm system. And again, it shows you good teams spend the money, and bad teams, they just want to profit. And it's sad, but I'll still be doing 150 plus Mariner games, and hopefully we can win 90, and we can get to the playoffs, either with a wild card or winning the AL West. But we can do Super Bowl related foods. Jacob in the building. What's good? Yeah, but the sad thing is that if he was good for you, in San Diego, the park in Seattle, it's like the hardest park to hit at. So I imagine his numbers are going to go down the shitter. Whatever he did for you, he'll be much worse for us. That happens to almost every player that we get. So, but hopefully he'll be, hopefully he'll get some singles and doubles for us, but who knows? Don't really know what I'm going to be doing for Super Bowl Sunday. Obviously, I'll be streaming the game, but I don't really know what I'm going to be doing food-wise. Wings would be good. Chicken of any kind. Tatis. Yeah, well, yeah, easier said for a lot of people that, have regular jobs that are making $20 an hour and whatnot. Support hasn't, has been pretty light, so if I was going to order a pizza and get it delivered, that'd be like $50. I can't afford that. So now if things were a little bit better, then maybe, I could do something like that, but I can't afford to spend $50 on pizza, when things have been where they've been. So unfortunately, that will not be something that I can do. But I hope a lot of y'all will be able to enjoy some good food during the Super Bowl. I mean, if it comes down to, getting a $50 pizza or taking care of Paisley, it's going to be Paisley, so. Or paying bills. But I am thankful for the people that we do have that support, because if we didn't have those people, then we would be in a much different situation where I probably wouldn't even be able to do the channel as much as I'm doing. And then I would probably have to, go get another job. And then that would be less streaming on the channel and less growth. So, but hopefully things will get better as the year goes on. And, we're just a little ways away from obviously baseball season, which is nice. NASCAR will be on next weekend for the Daytona 500, and maybe we'll be able to get some new NASCAR fans or baseball fans that will be able to help. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We need 9 more to get to 20. If you're in the room and haven't done it yet, help your boy out. Yeah, I'm so ready for baseball. I'm happy that we got NASCAR started. I know that's not going to be for everyone, but And it's nice that the Blazers are good again, where I can actually do that over the Kraken, because if I was just doing Kraken games, I mean, it'd just be them losing every fucking day. And I want my mental health to be good. I don't want to, be in a shit mood, in a bad mood, just watching them lose game in and game out. So at least the Blazers are holding it down for like filler stream content until we get into, obviously, Super Bowl Sunday. Once that ends, we get into NASCAR for a little bit, and then eventually we'll get into baseball, which will be fun. Kebabs. Those would be fire for Super Bowl. I haven't had a good kebab in a while. Shit, I haven't even had barbecue in a while, if I'm being honest. Some skewers, those look good. Buffalo wings with that buffalo sauce. Oh my. Nice. That's always a good thing to be able to do, when you put that love and energy into it, it definitely tastes better. So this is from Louisville, and their kickoff wing week. Interesting. Wish they had something like that here in Oregon. Looks delicious. Celebration of wings. Oh, nice. He can give you some info. All right, where do we want to go from here? We did a bunch of wings and whatnot. Where do we want to go here? Nachos, pizza, more wings. You guys let me know. We got, 7 more minutes? And then we can call it a day. And then I'll be live tomorrow at 5 for the Blazers and the T-Wolves. See if we can go 11-1 in our last 12 games. We're 10-1 in our last 11. Number 1 defensive team in the league in that stretch. Anthony Edwards, that's going to be a tough one, but again, it's a lot funner to be able to watch your team actually play well instead of just kind of going in the wrong direction. So it's like Kraken are going in one direction, Blazers are going in another, and again, you have to be really on your toes calling an NBA game, but I feel that I can do it just like anything else, and it's nice to be able to watch your team actually do something good for once. Post Damian Lillard era. little pepperoni pizza. Yeah, like I said, I'm forced to, obviously Blazers playing well, so now it's like I'm, watching. But I've watched a little SGA on the Thunder, and I'll probably tune into Luka here and there because again, I'm not really into hockey this year. I feel like hockey's been kind of boring, and again, I got NASCAR after the NFL is over, so that will hold me over. But that's only really on Sundays. So every other day during the week, I'm gonna need something to keep me going. So besides WWE and NASCAR, so I assume that will be the NBA. So when they visit LA or visit Dallas and we get the Anthony Davis Luka for the first time, I'll probably stream that and call that game. So, but even though I feel like the overall product of the NBA is still shit, again, Blazers have been fun, and it's better than the NHL right now. So again, it's like you only have so many things to really choose from, when we normally have football season and then we go into baseball, but we're still a little ways away. So got to be able to make do with what we have available. And then when we get in next month, we can do a little March Madness, which nobody really, cares about too much until it's March to fill out the bracket. But at least every game means something, and that'll be kind of fun. Let's get some pepperoni pizza up here for Double E. Yeah. And there's a reason why KD didn't want to go back to the Warriors. Draymond, of course. Playing with Steph is one thing, but again, Draymond is a difficult individual. So I don't blame KD one bit not wanting to go back there. So have you packed up and moved all your stuff already or no? Ooh. Little pepperonis, big pepperonis. Man, I haven't had a good pepperoni pizza in a minute. Looks amazing. But that's like really what it comes down to now, at least here, in Oregon. Like if I wanted to, order a pizza for Super Bowl or just, to have one, like I said, with delivery, not even for like a huge one, just for like a regular, medium or large with delivery. I mean, you're looking at around like $50, like $40-$50. That's insane. Like I know that things have gone up all over the country and whatnot, but that's not something that unfortunately I have the luxury of being able to do. I'm on a diet anyway, so it's not something I would do that often, period. But it would be nice to be able to have something to treat myself, for all the hard work and whatnot once in a while. But like, large pizza, nothing else, no breadsticks, no soda, no pop, nothing else, just the pizza. And then you get it delivered and you have your little tip and whatnot delivery. Like $50. That's insane. Like it might take me a couple streams to hit that. Sometimes we'll get it in one stream, but sometimes I might need to work, a couple days to get that. I can't just blow that on food for one meal. I got to take care of bills and take care of Paisley. Now, hopefully, the support will get better and then maybe I can, but that's just crazy. Seriously, like even the cheap ones, like really the only one that you can get a deal on now is maybe what the cheapest one. What is it? Little Caesars? But again, that would be something that you typically would have to go pick up, not like deliver. But that might be the only one that's still kind of cheap, but it tastes like crap. It's not, really good compared to the other places. That's just like cheap meal, But as far as compared to the other pizza, it doesn't really compare. Crust and the toppings are very low tier compared to the other pizza companies. So. $24, $17.50. He said frozen pizza. Have you got a chance to get all your stuff in boxes? You haven't moved yet, have you, or did you move already? All right, I'm going to go over the photos one last time, and then we'll end up calling it a day. Super Bowl, LIX, Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. Quarterback position, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, advantage, Patrick Mahomes. Running back position, advantage, Saquon Barkley. Wide receiver position, advantage, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Philadelphia Eagles. Tight end position, TK all day, Travis Kelce. Offensive line normally would be Philadelphia, but with those injuries on that line, we cannot forget about that. Dickerson, knee. Jurgens, back. Advantage, Chiefs. Defensive line, same situation. Might end up being advantage Eagles, but if you have that illness, this could end up falling apart for them. Could be an advantage Kansas City. Linebacking core, Zach Bond, Philadelphia Eagles. Cornerback position, Cooper DeJean, advantage Eagles. Reed Blankenship, safety, advantage Eagles. But then besides the quarterback with Patrick Mahomes, special teams, advantage Harrison Butker. And again, in the big clutch games, Pat and Harrison always seem to come up big. And really the main difference for me, again, if Saquon Barkley has a big game, they can win. There's no doubt about that. But with Andy Reid and Spags, it's going to be very tough. And again, it could go either way. And maybe we'll see a player like this kind of have a breakout game. It's been a minute. Maybe with those injuries on that offensive line, maybe we see a special version of Chris Jones. Who? Chris Jones. But either way, it should be close, hopefully. 37-34 or something of that nature. And hopefully some of y'all will be able to have some delicious food for the Super Bowl. I mean, as long as I have something to drink, some kind of chips or crackers or whatever, and then I'll have to see what I have finance-wise, and maybe I'll be able to do something. Probably won't be able to do what I want, like a pizza like this or something, but maybe I'll be able to figure something out for Super Bowl Sunday. So tomorrow we'll be doing the T-Wolves and the Blazers. We are 10-1 in our last 11 games, the best record in the NBA. So again, if you can come through and hang out, please do. And then on Sunday, we'll be live for Super Bowl Sunday there in the early afternoon. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And again, Chiefs, Eagles, to be a good one. I hope you guys have a good meal in your stomachs. Spend time with your pets and your family. And again, I will be live tomorrow at 5 Pacific. Thank you so much. Reflect with the big $20 dono, and every dollar counts. Thank you so much. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Any other photos or anything that you want to see before we go? I know you don't really care about the photos. You usually just do it from the kindness of your heart, and it means a lot. Thank you so much. Bang! Thank you. I appreciate you. And hopefully the breakdown was up to your standard. You know, you and me usually go very deep on the stats and the analytics, and I don't think I really missed anything. And it could go either way. But again, I'm definitely looking at some of those position groups to see where things go. Yeah, we can do a little Saul Goodman there for reflect as we go. I have to decide what show I'm going to watch. I finally finished True Blood. I'm on like season 6 or 7 of Walking Dead. I was thinking about starting Blacklist from the very beginning tonight, but again, that's a big commitment to start a show that's got like over 8 seasons, where you have a show that's like 10 seasons long. Because once I start a show, I have to finish it. So, but Reflect, you're the man. Thank you for all the support. I appreciate you guys. And thank you to Megan, Reflect, STL, and Reflect for holding it down. Sarah holding it down and helping out with the donos and the likes. I appreciate that. Great to see you, Double E, in the room. Don't be a stranger. Hang out whenever you can. Love you and appreciate you. And again, we will be live tomorrow for the Blazers and the T-Wolves at 5 Pacific if you want to hang out with your boy for a few minutes. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Okay. And shout out to Odin's son as well. Almost forgot that. Thank you, Reflect. You the man. And I'm out. Gang.